Welcome back, viewers and listeners, to Let's Read Say no Yuta. Last time we saw Fuminori and Seiya make Yo into their, I guess, sexual pet slash slave thing. And we've seen that she's been completely broken in the mind and can't talk or anything. Which, sucks. Wasn't too happy about seeing that. But let's just continue on. I guess we're back to Koji's perspective after being pushed into the well. I think he's not probably gonna be saved by Tamba, but we'll see. He has been buried alive. His whole world is the silence and cold of the grave. Ever since his voice gave out and he lost the strength to scream, no coherent thought has run through Koji's mind. Perhaps his brain was being merciful by shutting down, by forgetting who he is and why he is trapped in this dark well. He is able to ignore the freezing cold that is gradually draining his life. Instead, he dreams. Images flash before his eyes, random, unconnected scenes from his 20-odd years of life. Not all are of happy times. There are sad, painful memories as well. But even these are merciful, for they are pleasantly warm compared to the death that is encroaching upon him. He dreams of mountains. His older brother had taken him hunting for insects when he was a child. They'd seal the butterflies that wouldn't fit in their cages in a plastic bag, and later found the bag filled with wings of suffocated butterflies. He dreams of his lover. They'd met at a mixer, where he'd been the only one to realize that she couldn't hold her liquor. After she had too much to drink, he'd looked after her while she vomited in the back alley. They toasted each other with canned juice, and then he dreams that he is diving into the black depths of the night sea. When he reaches the bottom, he looks up to see the moon shining through the surface of the water. As he gazes up at the circle of light, entranced by its roundness and brilliance, he listens absently to the distant sound of a car. Something still conscious within him tells him that this dream is wrong. Have I ever gone diving in the ocean at night before? The dots began to connect in his mind, forming a barrier to separate his dream from reality. What is bothering him? Of course, the car. He can hear the sound of an engine coming from far away. The engine noise gradually changes to a low idling, then abruptly gives away to silence, followed by the sound of a door opening and closing. It sounds like someone drove up and got out of a car. This isn't a dream. These sounds are real. Train. I literally heard a train pass a couple minutes before recording. Amazing. Well, I mean, I guess there is 2 tracks, but still. Understanding comes like a sudden blow. This isn't the bottom of the sea, and that circle of light isn't the moon. It's the mouth of the well. The sun has already risen, and someone is right outside with a car. The last piece of the puzzle falls into place, and he becomes Tono Koji once more. Koji shouts, surprised by how easily his voice emerges. Perhaps he is desperate enough to subconsciously block out the pain of his raw throat. He keeps screaming with all his might. Soon, the echoes of the cramped well become deafening, and he is no longer sure if his screams have any meaning, or if he is just howling wordlessly. Nevertheless, he continues. His only desire is to be heard, so that whoever is out there will know that he is dying at the bottom of this well. Koji's wait is not long, but it feels like an eternity when spent at the boundary of hope and despair. Soon the circle of light above him is partially eclipsed by the silhouette of a person staring down into the well. What is that voice? That's not the doctor. That sounded like a man. Maybe I'm tripping though. I guess it's the echoes from the well. It's a woman, although her voice is not familiar. Koji has heard it somewhere before, for some reason. However, he can't remember who it belongs to. That does not sound like Tanba. Right? The silhouette vanishes, restoring the light to a perfect circle. Fear of being left alone again threatens to send Koji into panic, but his reason has recovered enough for him to resist the urge. She said she's going to get me out, he reminds himself. I haven't been abandoned. While waiting, he gingerly tests out his body, which he had forgotten all about until now. So yeah, this is probably Dr. Tanba, because he left the voice message telling where he was. And super lucky for him, Fuminori didn't actually catch him talking to Dr. Tanba. Like he said in the last video, he would have gone to try to kill her. He only heard the conversation with Yo, so it's really just lucky. Bad luck, I guess, for Fuminori. If it is Dr. Tanba. I just assume, since it's pointing to it, but it really doesn't sound like it. It sounds like a woman. I mean a man, for some reason. Okay, let's get back into it. His joints ache, and his fingers and toes are numb, but nothing is completely immovable. Though exhausted, he's definitely still in one piece. After some time, the silhouette reappears at the top of the well. Koji lacks the confidence to attempt such a feat with his fingers barely moving. Okay, it's starting to sound like her more. The little tone, the voice doesn't sound the same, but the tone does. After a brief pause, the owner of the voice tosses a knotted climbing rope into the well. He grabs the rope as soon as it reaches him, its definite presence filling him with true relief. Finally, free from his despair, he is able to start asking questions, specifically, who is his savior? The rope shakes as the woman climbs carefully down the ladder. The beam from the floodlight slung over her shoulder, pushing the back of the shadow cast by her body. She is soon standing in the same mud as Koji, and he finds himself face to face with... Drum roll.
Sensei.
Wow, who would have guessed? Nope. It's pretty cool. I don't know if that's just... I don't think the water was that deep, right? Still looks cool. Koji couldn't have imagined that his savior would turn out to be Dr. Tambo Ryoko, neurosurgeon at the Tokyo University Medical Center, except for the fact that you called her. Instead of a white gown and tight skirt, she is wearing a heavy leather coat, denim jeans, and boots with no heel. Her practical clothes make it clear that she expected to end up hiking through the mountains. She is carrying not a flashlight, but an all-purpose lamp that can be toggled between a large electric floodlight and a smaller side-mounted fluorescent lights. It's obviously survival gear, rather than the sort of thing you'd find in an emergency kit. Dr. Tambo says wryly, as she looks Koji up and down. She pulls a flask out of her pocket and hands it to him.
飲み込まず、ゆっくり一口ずつ舐めるようにしろ。少しはマシになるだろう。
ありがとうございます。
Walking around with a flask just like something a middle-aged alcoholic man would do. Maybe Koji's just old-fashioned, but he can't help but think that it's not the sort of item that a young female doctor should be carrying. I mean, it was just normal. Water, right? Yeah. Water in a flask isn't that uncommon, I think. Maybe it is. This is usually just a bottle, not a flask. Nevertheless, he unscrews the cap and takes a swig. Oh wait, it's actually alcohol. Never mind. And struggles to keep from coughing as a potent liquid sears his tongue.
何ですかこれ?
It's something.
スピリタスウォッカ。着付け薬によし、消毒によし。浴びせてから火をつければ効くような相手にはかなり効く。
Look at that smile. That slyish, devilish smile. Okay, I was wrong. Maybe that is kind of weird. But it is legal in Japan to drink in public, not in Canada or America or the United States. But yeah. Also, alcohol doesn't really help with thirst. Well, it's hard alcohol, like beer's so right, but I feel like vodka wouldn't help you. Disinfectant. Her straightforward, no-nonsense tone makes it clear that she's quite serious. Koji can only gape at the doctor, the dark smile on her face doing little to ease his confusion. Is she really Dr. Tambo Ryoko? There's no trace of that bookish, mild-mannered doctor Koji met at the hospital. Her expression is now set in a hard mask, and her eyes are sharp and wary. In the darkness at the bottom of the well, it is possible, however unlikely, that the change in her features is caused by the ominous shadows cast by her lamp. It's not so easy, however, to explain the change in her demeanor.
先生はどうしてここに?
電話をよこしたのは君だろうが。
Exactly. Ryuko replied, I'm doodling it. I know I've been skipping some of the words I don't know, but I feel like I should be doodling these. Brusquely. Abrupt and curt in manner of speech, discourteously blunt. Okay, just blunt. Or a blunter blunt, I guess.
行方不明者を探してる二人組が妙な留守電の後に揃いも揃って音信不通になったりしたら何かあったと思うのが普通だろ。
I don't think I read the top part, but I think I was up enough. Yep. Although Koji still doesn't understand why she acted so quickly, it's a different part of what she said that seizes his attention.
じゃあ、筑波陽にも連絡を?
したよ。君と一緒で繋がらない。
What?
正直なところ、私はてっきり君も死体になってるもんだと思ってたんだがね。
Okay, hopefully she's gonna give us some explanation about that. That's a pretty bold statement. Maybe she does know stuff about Saya. That's right, he was almost killed, and at the hands of a man whom he believed was his best friend all along. Anger and frustration well up inside him. He can't forgive Fuminori's betrayal, nor can he forgive himself for his foolishness. And now he has no idea if Tsukuba-yo is safe. Fuminori tried to kill Koji. Could he have done the same to...
まあ落ち着け。ここで君がいくら殺気だって見たところで始まらん。
Ryoko says irritably, without even looking at him.
何かあったと思ったのなら、警察には届けてくれたんですか?
Koji says to her back.
警察だと
Dude, that smile is just great. Such a, like, it's hard to explain. It looks kind of forced, but, like, really, like, sly. Malicious, almost. Light malicious. Still engrossed in her examination of the walls, Ryoko laughs scornfully at the idea.
そうか君はまだそういう形で蹴りがつけられるものだと思っているわけか
どういう意味です？
Starting to get annoyed by her overbearing attitude, Koji's about to demand answers when she cuts him off with a gesture and shines her light at the corner of the
殿
well.
君こいつには気づかなかったのか
は？
Huh? In the light of the lamp, Koji sees some of the stones are clearly different from the rest of the wall. This must be what Ryoko was looking for while ignoring him.
気づきませんでした。ずっと真っ暗だったんで。
ふん
Ryoko's gaze moves slowly along the wall, finally coming to the rest on a gap between two of the stones. The hole is just wide enough for an adult to reach into open-handed. Is there really like a secret tunnel or something?
君いいところに落ちてくれたよひょうたんから困ってやつか
Ryoko said with a grim smile. She wastes no time in thrusting her hand in the opening. After she feels around for a few seconds, Koji hears the thunk of something solid coming together behind the wall.
先生、
Ryoko pulls her hand out and gives the different colored stones a gentle push. With the rumble of weight shifting, the stones slide smoothly back into the wall.
こういう仕掛けかやられたよ前に来た時は気づきもしなかった
前にも来た。
Koji wants answers. Me too. But Ryoko ignores him and peers into the opening. In the beam of her floodlight, Koji can see a concrete tunnel leading into the mountain.
私は先に進むが殿君君はここに残ることを勧める
Her warning is simple and utterly devoid of warmth. Considering his options, Koji looks from the tunnel to the rope and back again. He's practically sweating now, thanks to the nearly 200 proof vodka he just drank. But although feeling has returned to his fingers, he still doesn't have the strength to climb the rope. That said, the mere thought of being left alone again in the well makes him shiver.
一緒に行きます。連れてってください。
まあ好きにしろ
Ryoko steps into the tunnel without looking back, and Koji doesn't hesitate to follow her.
前にお会いした時と随分雰囲気が違いますね。
Koji says sarcastically, following Ryoko as she moves cautiously down the tunnel with her light, leading the way.
ここは病院じゃない君は患者じゃない営業スマイルが必要か
じゃあこっちが先生の字ですか。
さあどうだかなどうだっていいことだろ
Ryoko suddenly stops and stares at the floor. When Koji looks over her shoulder, he sees a dust-covered rope lying coiled in the middle of the path.
何です？
あの井戸から降りてきたやつの小細工さ
Ooh, I wonder if Ryoko pushed I already forgot his name. The other doctor down the well. Ryoko picks up the rope, examines it, and hands it to Koji.
長さは私が使ったロープのほぼ2倍途中に結び目があって端は両方とも切断されてるこの
Making
両
a
端がつながって
circle
輪になってたのさ
just to tie around him.
え？
外のどこかにこの輪を引っ掛けて井戸の底まで伝って降りる
Right.
その後ナイフで輪を切って井戸の中に引っ張り込めば井戸の底に降りた痕跡は残らない
Okay, maybe she and maybe other people chased him to the cottage and then he escapes and did this rope trick to make it seem like he just disappeared. I guess? Made sense. Ryuko shines her light down the tunnel, revealing that it ends in a closed wooden door about 10 meters ahead.
こうやってここに逃げ込んだやつは追っ手の目をくらませたのさ。やられたよ。まんまと騙された。
先生、さっき前にも来たっていうのは。
ああ、君や咲坂君だけじゃない。私も以前、鴎外を追ってこの別荘に来た。
Old guy, right? I don't know why I forgot his name. Guess it's been a while since they mentioned him. Ryoko says dryly. Whoa. Look at that. Shoddy. Sawed off. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not good at guns. It looks short, so I'm gonna pretend it's a sawed off. As Ryoko speaks, she opens her coat and pulls out something that she had hanging underneath it.
他に出口がないとしたら、奴はまだあの扉の向こう側にいるわけだ。
Just chilling. At first, Koji thinks that she's holding a steel pipe. Amazed that she would be carrying a weapon, Koji looks closer and is appalled when he realizes what it really is. It's a gun. And not one of those sleek handguns that he's seen in the movies, but a double-barreled shotgun. The stock and most of the barrels have been sawed off for easier concealment, making it appear even more terrifyingly brutal. Nice. I got it right.
何ですかそれ。
ショットガン、12番口径。
Ryoko replies blandly, as though naming a brand of cigarettes. So I was thinking that she was sketchy and stuff. I didn't think she'd be like sawed off shotgun concealing, sketchy, not afraid to kill people. I thought she was more like corporate sketchy, like, oh, we had to get rid of old guy because he's done something wrong and we need to keep the reputation up of the hospital. But this seems a lot more serious.
私にはこいつを持ち歩く資格なんてないし、こんな風に改造するのも銃刀法違反だ。
そんなもの持ち出して一体どうするつもりです？
Ryoko looks over her shoulder and shows Koji her most chilling smile yet.
鴎外の正体を初めて知った時、私はただの善良な一般市民だった。交通違反すら無縁のね。
That's not even a smile. The woman whom Koji had thought was just a normal doctor waves her sawed-off shotgun menacingly as she continues, her tone sharp yet self-deprecating.
あの時にこいつがあったなら、私は多分鴎外をきっちり殺せていただろう。そうなってれば、もしかしたら君たちがこんな災難に巻き込まれることもなかったかもしれない。
Koji listens in silence, helpless to do anything but watch, as understanding moves farther and farther out of his grasp. That also brings up something I was I just thought of it now. But what if, like, Fuminori never met Saya? I feel like, the two options would be, like, he would commit suicide, but another option is he might actually tell the doctors. And maybe they would be able to figure out a way to cure him. Maybe. Or they would do tests on him and it would be horrible, but yeah, I guess a lot of bad things wouldn't happen to other people. I guess it would still suck for Fuminori, but everyone else would be fine. But yeah, just one of those what ifs. That's a smile. And the train.
君とその友達が足を突っ込んでる泥沼のありさまを終わらせてやるための手続きだ。
Jesus. Okay, you're looking a little crazy there.
その辺をよく理解して余計な口は突っ込まないこと。いいね。
Koji's only choice is to nod weakly in response. With the light in her left hand and the shotgun in her right, Ryoko walks up to the door and takes a deep breath. Then she kicks the door open, putting her full weight behind the blow. Operation table. Looks rusty or maybe bloody. I see like a rib cage and a spine model. So basically like a spare laboratory or whatever. With a disappointingly feeble sound, the door breaks off of its hinges and falls into the room. In the beam of Ryoko's light, dust billows into the air like white smoke. The room is large, probably at least 35 square meters in size. Koji's first impression is of an operating theater that was turned into a storage room. The tiled floor is set with drainage grates, and there's no mistaking the movable operating table sitting in the middle of the room. One of the walls is covered with cabinets containing enamelware and drugs, while against the opposite wall stand a writing desk and a bookshelf. Even Koji can recognize that much. The mysterious objects cluttering the table and shelves, however, are beyond his comprehension. Mirrors delicately engraved with complex patterns, grotesque statues, and masks that have been left behind by a race of savages, tapestries woven in nauseating arrays of color, a crystal ball the size of an infant's head. They're probably all antiques, but there's one thing that they definitely have in common. Every one of them is so loathsome and foul that Koji feels sick just looking at it. It's as though they were designed for the sole sinister purpose of immortalizing their creator's hatred of the world. Rare-looking books of the sort that were in Odai's Tokyo home are piled here and there, and on one of the shelves are stacked some scrolls that look to be made of some kind of sheepskin or papyrus. Whatever it is, it's not paper. Finally, there are indecipherable chalk patterns and symbols filling every available space on the walls. Even the two sliding blackboards are completely covered in strange, unreadable scribblings. Just looking at them is making Koji dizzy. Ryoko snaps at him.
いいか、ここから動くな。絶対に何かに触ったりするな。目を引くようなものがあっても見つめたりしちゃいけない。まずいと思ったらすぐに目をそらして自分の靴を見ろ。わかった？
はあ。
Ryoko switches the floodlight to the fluorescent lamp and sets the light on a nearby table where it can illuminate the whole room. She then holsters her shotgun only to pull out an even more confusing set of tools, digital camera and a can of spray paint. She gives the spray can in her left hand a good shake, switches the camera in her right hand on, and steps into the room while looking at the camera's side-mounted screen. After methodically recording the symbols on the walls and blackboards, she immediately begins to cover them in layers of black spray paint.
レッスン1、妙な図形やラテン語の文章とかは絶対に読むな、見つめるな。機械の目で記録しておいて、後で注意深く調べればいい。現物はその場で塗りつぶすか何かして破壊しろ。
Okay. Now that she mentions it, Koji realizes that she's only looking at the screen of her camera, and even then only in short glimpses and never directly at any of the drawings. He understands what she's saying, but it still doesn't make any sense. To not get scared or confused like you are.
ここまで深入りしたんなら工学のために黙って聞いておけ。あと水晶球とか鏡の類も危ない。下手に壊すとやぶ蛇になったりするから、とりあえず布でもかぶせるかペンキを浴びせて封印しろ。
Anything can happen if you break them. So it's best you cover them with cloth or paint over them. Or paint over them. Koji begins to fear that this doctor might be even crazier than Fuminori. She seems very superstitious, at least. Despite the bursts of energy he received from the vodka, Koji is still exhausted from having spent the night at the bottom of a well. The fear is affecting his body, making him dizzy and nauseous. Soon the walls are covered in black paint and the stale air is thick with the smell of turpentine. Ryoto says with relief, then tosses the empty can aside and puts away her video camera. Koji asks, supporting himself against a nearby table. Without stopping her examination of the papers on the writing table, Ryoto nonchalantly points at a Chinese-style screen standing in one corner of the room. He was there. Her clinical choice of tense makes the truth clearer than any words can. The urge to see for himself is irresistible. Koji staggers across the room to the screen, taking the utmost care not to look at the scaly octopus thing that is painted on it. Behind the screen is a large, easy chair. Although he's never met the man before, Koji is fairly sure that the person sitting in it is Odai Masahiko. Ugh. Yeah, I wasn't expecting him to be alive after this. Well, I don't know how long this incident happened, but I just thought thematically that he wouldn't be alive. Odai's corpse must have shrunk significantly while drying in the sealed, undiscovered chamber. The skeleton is barely the size of a child's, with only the business suit hanging from the bones offering any hint of Odai's former stature. His empty eye sockets are wide open. His empty eye sockets and wide open jaw are filled with darkness, the same darkness that surrounded Koji at the bottom of the well. Compared to those gaping voids, the tiny hole in Odai's right temple is almost demure. Demure? The small revolver he must have used to kill himself is still clenched in his dangling right hand. Next to Ryuko's shotgun, it would probably look like a child's toy. Ryuko must have noticed Odai's corpse when she was spraying paint on the walls. Having gotten beyond surprise by now, Koji is instead impressed by Ryoto's ability to keep working next to a corpse without batting an eyelash. He wonders why he keeps meeting people who are totally crazy. If it weren't for her, Koji reminds himself with a bitter smirk that he would have ended up joining this mummified corpse here, and no one would ever have found him. Koji's vision suddenly dims. He's pushed himself too hard, and the spiritus vodka can't help him anymore. He collapses to the floor, unable to hang on to his slipping consciousness, and the last thing he sees are Odai Masahiko's gaping eye sockets staring at him. I think that's a good time to take a break and end the episode. That was a pretty tense episode. It still hasn't really answered too many questions, except now we have confirmation that Odai is dead. We've seen his little secret hideaway lair. I guess Odai is also very superstitious. Like, we still don't know what Saya is. I'm kind of thinking she's an alien because of her explanation too, but she could be some kind of monster that he summoned. I tend to just assume that Odai found it and took care of her, and then just assume that she was some kind of demonic force. That's why he was studying all the Latin, ancient, demon, whatever stuff. But yeah, that was good. Maybe next episode we'll get some explaining from Dr. Tanba about the situation, because it feels like we're leading into a climax where it'll be a confrontation between like Dr. Tanba and Koji and Saya and Fuminori. Sooner or later, I can see the series finishing within 2 weeks, 1 to 2 weeks. But thank you guys for watching. As always, feel free to leave any comments or whatever, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.